Okay, so you think you know prompt engineering. You've gotten down the basics, but ready to really unlock the power of AI. Well, today we are going way beyond just the 101 stuff and diving deep into all kinds of materials that honestly promise to turn you from someone who just kind of messes around with prompts to like a full-blown AI architect.
Exactly. We're talking about taking your prompting to a whole new level, like really high level stuff, prompt template matrices, troubleshooting guides that are so detailed, even, a coder who's been doing this for years would be impressed. And even, get this, a look into like the absolute cutting edge of AI prompting research.
Yeah, I mean, think about it this way. You've got this crazy powerful AI that can write any kind of text format you can imagine.
Yeah.
Poems, code, scripts, music, emails, you name it. But sometimes it feels like you're trying to, I don't know, talk to like a brilliant, but totally clueless intern.
Yeah.
And all this material we're talking about, it's like finally getting the ultimate translator for that intern. It's the guide to finally speaking its language, fluently.
And the best part is it's not just about fixing like basic errors. It's about like really understanding all the little nuances of AI, how to tweak your prompts to get exactly what you want, how to really push the limits of what AI can do.
Right. So let's start with this thing called, and I'm super curious about this, the prompt template matrix. It sounds kind of sci-fi, don't you think?
It does, a little, but it's actually a genius way to organize the honestly massive world of prompt engineering. Picture this, a spreadsheet.
Okay.
Each row is a different type of prompt, and they're categorized by like what they're for and how complex they are. So instead of scrolling through lists forever, you go straight to the prompt you need for the specific thing you want to do.
Got it. So say I wanted to summarize a really complicated research paper, but I wanted it to sound fun, like a witty news anchor was reading it. I could use this matrix to find a prompt that would do that.
Exactly. And it even breaks it down by difficulty level. You've got your 101 prompts. Those are for like basic instructions and stuff. But then it goes up to 201, 301 levels. And those are for like more nuanced things like crafting a story that really hooks people in or even copying a specific writing style, which is pretty cool, right?
That's wild. So it's like a map that not only shows you everywhere you can go in prompt engineering, but also tells you like how tough the journey is for each place. I like that.
Exactly. And it's not just about what prompts exist. It shows you how they work, too.
Yeah.
Like a cheat sheet to understand the structure, the logic behind each type of prompt.
Okay, so it's like a prompt menu where you can see all the different dishes. And then, that's right, the prompt template definition section is where you get the actual recipe for each one.
That's a perfect analogy. The definition section really dives deep into each prompt, the structure, the purpose, all the potential ways you could use it. But, and this is the best part, it goes even further.
Okay. Tell me, does it show you how to actually customize the prompts? Because honestly, that's where I always get stuck. Finding a perfect prompt, no problem. But tweaking it to get exactly what I need from the AI, that's the tough part.
You hit the nail on the head. That's where you go from just using prompts to like actually crafting them, right? And the definition section, that's what it's all about. It breaks down that process, shows you how to change the wording, the structure, how to add specific things to get the AI to like really align with what you're envisioning.
So you're saying it's like learning the secret code of AI? It's not just about asking it to do something. It's about making it do it in a specific style with a specific voice, a certain tone.
Exactly. It's where prompt engineering goes from just being a technical skill to like an art form. The more you understand each prompt, the more creative and powerful your results will be. And speaking of art, let's be honest, even the best artists sometimes hit a wall. And in prompt engineering, that wall usually looks like a bunch of totally unexpected outputs. You think you've nailed the prompt, and then the AI just spits out something completely off base.
Oh, yeah. I know exactly what you mean.
And that's where the troubleshooting section comes in clutch.
Tell me about it. I once spent, no joke, hours trying to get the AI to write a children's story. And every single time, the characters sounded like, robots. I was so close to giving up.
Oh, I can imagine. I think we've all been there. And it's interesting. The solution is often in the tiniest little details. The troubleshooting section, it really digs into all those common traps. It's like having an AI therapist who can help you understand those, those weird AI error messages.
Okay, so it's not just like a list of FAQs. It actually teaches you how to, diagnose and actually fix all those little AI quirks.
It's way more than just a fix-it guide. It's like it teaches you to actually think like the AI. For example, one of the first things it stresses is clarity. See, humans, we're really good at reading between the lines, but AI, it takes everything literally. So if your prompt is even a little bit vague, the AI is probably going to misunderstand what you want.
Right, right. It's like when you're giving someone directions, but you only use really vague landmarks, they could end up like miles away from where they're supposed to be.
Exactly. So instead of saying something like, write a creative story, the troubleshooting guide is all about being super specific. Like, tell the AI what genre you want, how long it should be, what kind of characters, even what tone or mood you're going for. The more specific, the better the AI gets what you're picturing in your head.
Okay, so clarity is key.
Got it.
What are some other common mistakes people make when they're writing prompts?
Formatting, it's a big one. We usually think of formatting as like, making things look pretty, but with AI, it's crucial for how the prompt is understood. Like, even things like inconsistent spacing, weird line breaks, or using the wrong punctuation, that can really mess with the AI.
Honestly, I never would have thought of that. I'm so used to just typing out prompts like I'm sending a casual email. You're telling me the AI is reading those prompts like lines of code or something?
You got it. Think of it like this. A computer program won't run right if the code's full of typos, right?
Aye.
Same thing with AI prompts. The cleaner and more organized the formatting is, the better the AI can understand your instructions.
Got it. So if I'm getting weird results, first thing I should do is check my formatting for any, like, hidden issues.
Always a good place to start. The troubleshooting guide actually has some killer tips for formatting prompts effectively. For example, it suggests using bullet points if you're listing a bunch of instructions, or using clear headings to separate different parts of the prompt.
Okay, that's pretty simple. But I can see how that would make things a lot clearer for the AI. Anything else? Any other troubleshooting gems you can share?
Here's one that I always find super interesting: providing context. We tend to think that AI has like the same knowledge and understanding that we do, but that's not always true. If your prompt relies on like implicit knowledge or subtle references, the AI might totally miss the point.
Right. It's like trying to explain, I don't know, some complicated scientific concept to someone who's never even taken a science class. You got to give them some background first, right? You can't just jump into the advanced stuff.
Exactly. So let's say you're asking the AI to write a story about, I don't know, the philosophical implications of quantum entanglement. You can't assume the AI has a physics degree, right? Give it some background info, a quick explanation of the concept, even some relevant examples.
So it's like, I don't know, holding the AI's hand and walking it through your thought process instead of just expecting it to magically know everything.
Precisely. The more context you give it, the better equipped it is to give you meaningful and, accurate results. And this isn't just about facts and stuff. It applies to tone, style, even emotional nuances.
Okay, so if I wanted the AI to, let's say, write a poem in the style of Sylvia Plath, I shouldn't just tell it, write a poem like Sylvia Plath. I should give it some examples of her work, talk about her style, maybe even mention her life.
You got it. That kind of context is super important. And the troubleshooting guide goes through a bunch of different ways to provide context effectively, depending on like the type of prompt and what kind of output you want.
This is starting to feel less like a technical manual and more like we're in an artist studio. We're talking inspiration, context, emotions. It's like we're actually collaborating with the AI instead of just, giving it orders.
I love that. And that collaborative spirit, that's at the heart of good prompt engineering. And sometimes the best way to collaborate is to just experiment, right?
Okay, tell me more.
Even with all the best practices and troubleshooting tips, there'll be times when you just can't figure out why a prompt isn't working. That's when you got to channel your inner scientist, and start experimenting.
So we're talking A/B testing for prompts.
Exactly. Try different words, change the structure a bit, add or remove details, see what happens. Each variation is like a mini experiment, and the AI's output is your data. You analyze the results, make adjustments, and just keep going until you get closer to what you're looking for.
It's like being a detective, right? Looking for clues in the AI's responses to figure out how it's thinking and how to steer it in the right direction.
That's a great way to put it. And speaking of detective work, remember that expert critic prompt we mentioned earlier? Turns out that can be a pretty handy debugging tool, too.
Wait, so you're saying I can actually ask the AI to, critique my own prompts?
Exactly. It's like having an AI writing coach who can give you feedback on your prompts before you even run them. You can ask it to check if it's clear, if there's anything ambiguous, and even suggest ways to make the structure or the wording better.
That's amazing. It's like having a built-in prompt debugger.
Yeah, it can be super helpful, especially when you're working with like really complex prompts or trying to get those very specific stylistic effects.
This troubleshooting section is like a treasure chest full of tips and tricks. I'm already feeling a lot more confident about dealing with those tricky prompt situations.
That's what we like to hear. And remember, prompt engineering, it's an ongoing journey of learning and discovery. And these resources, they're the perfect roadmap to guide you along the way.
Well, I'm definitely feeling energized and ready to try out all these tips.
That's the spirit. And don't forget, the journey doesn't stop at troubleshooting. There's a whole world of resources out there that can help you go even deeper.
Going through all of this, it really hits me that prompt engineering is so much more than just a technical skill. It's almost like a creative partnership between us and the AI.
Yeah, absolutely. And these supplemental materials, they really highlight that. They give us a framework for like figuring out how to actually talk to AI, how to guide its creative process, and how to, push it to do even more.
One thing that really stood out to me was, understanding all the different types of prompts and how they actually work. It's kind of like learning the grammar of a new language, right? Like once you get the rules, then you could build these more complex, more nuanced sentences, or I guess in this case, prompts.
Exactly. And just like with any language, the more you use it, the better you get at it. And these materials, they encourage you to keep experimenting. They're not just about giving you, a list of instructions, but more like a toolkit for like exploring all the crazy potential of AI.
And I love that they don't shy away from the hard stuff. The troubleshooting section, man, it's a gold mine for like those moments when the AI just seems to be doing its own thing.
For sure. It's about understanding that AI, it's powerful, but it's not magic. It needs clear directions, good communication. And sometimes, yeah, a little bit of detective work to get what you're looking for.
Speaking of detective work, that expert critic prompt you mentioned, that's a game changer. I love that you can actually get feedback from the AI itself on how to improve your prompts.
It's such a powerful technique, and it really shows how collaborative this whole thing is. You're
Yeah.
not just telling the AI what to do, you're having a conversation with it, learning from each other, pushing each other to be more creative, which is pretty cool when you think about it.
And even beyond all the technical stuff, I'm really struck by how much emphasis they put on responsibility.
Yeah.
These materials, they remind us that prompt engineering, it's not just about making the AI do whatever we want. It's about using this technology to actually benefit everyone.
Couldn't agree more. It's about recognizing how much AI can impact society and making sure that we're using it ethically, thoughtfully, like making sure it aligns with our values.
It's almost like we're pioneers, right? Like we're exploring this new frontier and we have this incredibly powerful tool, and it's up to us to decide how it's used, what kind of future we build with it.
That's a great way to put it. And these materials, they're like our compass and our maps for this journey. They help us be more than just like prompt engineers. They let us be innovators, collaborators, and even leaders in this like crazy age of AI.
So to everyone listening, I really encourage you, dig into these materials, embrace the challenge, and just let your creativity run wild. Who knows? Maybe you'll discover the next big AI breakthrough. Or even better, maybe you'll discover a whole new way of thinking about, the relationship between humans and machines.
And remember, this is just the start. AI is constantly evolving, which means prompt engineering is too. So stay curious, keep experimenting, and never ever stop pushing the limits of what's possible.